The lesson that Alcaraz has taught Djokovic despite the age difference. We can now talk about a generational shift in tennis. Jannik Sinner is the world number one, and it doesn't seem like anyone will dethrone him anytime soon, while Carlos Alcaraz is regaining his best form. These are the two new faces of men's tennis, with the exception of Novak Djokovic, who is no longer what he once was and is far from the top spots in the ranking, although he remains one of the main contenders in Grand Slams. The Serbian tennis player spoke about all this in an interview with the Montenegrin media outlet Vijesti, where he assured that the sport of tennis is in good hands. Now we have Alcaraz and Sinner, who are starting a new rivalry. Nadal, Federer, and I, as well as Murray, whom I want to include here, have dominated tennis for the last 15 or 20 years, he began. Djokovic also praised Carlos Alcaraz, one of the most popular players on the tour despite being only 21 years old and still relatively new to the circuit. If we talk about charisma, Alcaraz has always stood out. Not only because of his game and his achievements at such a young age but also because he is a fair and kind player with everyone, he explained to the media. In fact, Noel admitted that Carlitos has given him a lesson in knowing how to lose, as he takes defeats well despite his youth, something that Djokovic himself struggled with at the beginning of his career. When he loses, he does so with a smile, which I find impressive for someone so young and with so little experience in this world. Additionally, Djokovic once again highlighted the maturity that Carlos Alcaraz demonstrates despite his young age. The values of the Spaniard have been praised on numerous occasions, as he has always shown a sportsmanship that very few possess. Carlos Alcaraz behaves as if he has been on the circuit for 10 years or more. I think this is due to a great upbringing, the environment he is in, and his coach, Juan Carlos Ferrero. He is a Grand Slam champion who has taught him from a young age what it means to be an athlete. Not just in terms of competition but also in understanding the values of the sport and how to be a role model for younger generations, he stated. Beyond his reflections on Carlos Alcaraz, Noel spoke about the possibility of winning his 25th Grand Slam, although first, he wants to reach his 100th title, which has been more difficult than expected. I hope my 100th title can come in Doha. I've been chasing it for a long time, since last October. As for the 25th Grand Slam, it's a much bigger challenge, one that requires greater effort, but I believe I can achieve it. If I didn't believe I could compete at this level against the best players in the world, I wouldn't still be competing. I think my victory over Alcaraz at the Australian Open showed that I can still fight for the biggest titles. Djokovic compares Carlos Alcaraz and Sinner to Nadal, Federer, and himself. The Serbian has reflected on the rivalry that both the Italian and the Spaniard are developing, which reminds him of the one maintained by the Big Three, in which he also includes Andy Murray. After getting injured in Australia and before making his return in Doha, Novak Djokovic gave an interview to Vijesti where he reflected on the passage of time and the new contenders on the circuit. Specifically, the Serbian highlighted Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. They are developing a new rivalry. In fact, the 24-time Grand Slam winner compared them to the well-known Big Four and sent them a message: they have a responsibility beyond just tennis. Nadal, Federer, and I, along with Murray, whom I must include here, truly dominated men's tennis for the last 15 or 20 years and raised the standard and expectations, he explained. Not just in terms of results but also in all other aspects and the expectations that a champion and world number one must fulfill, he added. How they should represent tennis, how they should take on the role of an ambassador for the sport, a leader of the sport, he concluded. However, if he has to choose a successor to the tennis throne, Novak Djokovic is full of praise for Carlos Alcaraz. Zverev filled with doubts amid Alcaraz's threat. The world number two is on the verge of losing his spot to Alcaraz and continues to show uncertainty ahead of major tournaments. Next week, tennis has a high-level event in Doha. The best names return to the court to compete for an ATP 500 title after the tournaments in Rotterdam and Dallas. However, one player who does not seem to be attending is Alexander Zverev, who has opted for an easier route and will compete in the ATP 250 in Argentina. This event does not feature the top ATP players, making it easier for the world number two to fight for the title. The competition starts on Wednesday, February 12th, and, if all goes as expected, will culminate in a final on Sunday, February 16th, just one day before the Doha tournament begins. However, when it comes to major events, Zverev appears increasingly uncertain. The German has never won a Grand Slam title, despite spending years at the top and being ranked number 2 in the ATP rankings. At the Australian Open, he once again came close to achieving it, but Jannik Sinner ended his hopes and left him just short of victory. After the awards ceremony, Sasha cast doubt on himself by admitting that he does not feel good enough to win a Grand Slam. These doubts continue, as he once again expressed them in a press conference before his debut in Argentina. "I must believe that I am good enough to win a slam," said Zverev, acknowledging that if he does not believe in his talent, he will not be able to show it on the court, though he does not seem particularly convinced. "I want to keep believing in myself and improving. Roland Garros is the next Grand Slam tournament and definitely my next big goal," added the German, who is still chasing his ultimate challenge. Carlos Alcaraz, chasing Zverev and eyeing Sinner. For now, his biggest challenge is winning a Grand Slam, but his biggest threat is Carlos Alcaraz. The Spanish player has just triumphed in Rotterdam, overcoming one of his weaknesses in tennis, indoor courts. After his victory in this tournament, he made a significant impact on the ATP rankings, earning 500 points and closing the gap on Sinner by 1,000 points. Only 625 points separate the Spaniard from reaching second place in the world rankings, meaning Zverev is under pressure to win his tournament if he wants to maintain his position. Alcaraz, meanwhile, will be in Doha, where more ranking points are at stake. On Tuesday morning, Rafael Nadal met with Spanish Olympic athletes at the Spanish Olympic Committee headquarters to review his career in an event that also served as a tribute to his remarkable achievements. This gathering was a moment of reflection and celebration for the 22-time Grand Slam champion, who officially retired from professional tennis last November at the Davis Cup. Nadal, widely regarded as one of the greatest players in the history of the sport, took the opportunity to share his thoughts on his transition to life beyond the competitive circuit. "I'm doing well," said Nadal. "Adjusting to a new stage. I'm keeping busy, as it should be. It's very important to have goals in life," he continued, emphasizing the significance of staying active and engaged even after stepping away from the game. The Spanish legend acknowledged the challenges of transitioning to retirement but remained optimistic about the journey ahead. "I'm someone who needs to have things to do. I don't like waking up and just lying on the couch. I like having things to do," he reiterated, highlighting his driven personality and his desire to keep himself occupied with meaningful activities. For Nadal, this period is about careful planning and finding a new sense of purpose. "This is a time to organize this new stage. That's what I'm working on. It's still recent. It's been 3 months since I stopped playing, but so far, I'm adapting well," he explained. Despite his retirement, Nadal remains deeply connected to the world of sports. His passion for competition and discipline is still evident, and he has expressed interest in staying involved in various capacities, whether as a mentor, ambassador, or contributor to the development of future generations of athletes. While he is yet to return to playing tennis recreationally, he revealed that he has rediscovered his love for football, a sport he enjoyed during his younger years but had to set aside due to his tennis commitments. Looking ahead, Nadal remains open to exploring different opportunities and roles within the sporting world. "I know my life will always be linked to sports. It's what I love, and it has shaped who I am. I just need to figure out what comes next, what truly motivates me, and how I can contribute in a meaningful way," he said. For now, the tennis icon is allowing himself time to adjust, focusing on personal growth, and embracing this new chapter with the same dedication and enthusiasm that defined his legendary career. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, because here at Tennis Zone, we are dedicated to bringing you the best content for the best audience. We offer in-depth analysis, exclusive interviews, and comprehensive coverage of everything related to the world of tennis. Join our community and be part of the excitement of the tournaments with us. Additionally, at Tennis Zone, we strive to provide you with up-to-date and high-quality content about players, tournaments, strategies, and the most relevant events in the tennis world.